Hello and welcome to another very special Robo Skull MK II flavoured episode from the Full Force podcast. I am Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic80, and joining me today are two men that have really made this incredible Kickstarter campaign possible. On one hand, we have the man responsible for the current Robo Skull MK II, Ben from the Skeletron toy company, and on the other, we have the man responsible for its existence in the first place. Palitoy legend and designer of the very first Red Shadows Robo Skull, Bob Brechin. What an absolute pleasure. I will start with you first, Bob. How are you doing, my good man?
Okay. We got trouble in the kitchen and bathroom.
No! What happened?
A few weeks ago, the ceiling fell in the kitchen.
Oh no!
That's and we're pulling you away from having to deal with that right now.
We had a guy in knocking out plaster yesterday and the day before, so we're in a bit of a mess.
Mate, I'm
tidying up this morning.
So sorry. So was there some sort of like leaked pipe or something in the...
Well, we had a new bathroom fitted about 3 years ago, just a few weeks ago. As I say, the ceiling fell in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
So I think there was two leaks. There's one in the shower waste pipe and one in the actual shower itself.
Oh no.
And, it must have been a slow leak, and it must have been going on ever since they fitted it.
Mate, I'm so sorry. Well, thanks for jumping on. Anyway, really appreciate. It's great to see you again. It's been a long time. I think the last time we saw you was probably in Leicester, wasn't it? When we went to the
at the museum. Yeah. When we had the two Robo Skulls together, didn't we? Mine and Kate's big one.
I will say, Kate misses you massively, and she said she's at work at the moment. She said, say hi to Bob and show him this that I made. She's really, really excited for you to see this. This is a Baroness Ironblood that she custom made in the classified scale. So this is a 6-inch figure, and look at all the detail on this, Bob. Look, she's done all of the little.
Is it based on her face?
Well, actually, this is the Baroness figure from G.I. Joe Classified. So it only looks like her because she's got glasses on and hair. And she also made a little Baron Ironblood. Look at that! Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Incredible stuff. So she wanted me to show you that on camera. And in any case, she misses you very much, and she sends a love.
You're still doing her pottery then?
Not since we moved here, unfortunately. But she's desperate to get back to it pretty soon. We will.
Some good stuff. Yeah.
She does. She really does. Anyway, great to see you again.
Send her my love and best wishes.
I will not. I'm just kidding. Of course I will. And Ben, of course, mate. Great to have you on as well, pal. Much appreciated. It's a shame the Kickstarter's not really doing very well, though, isn't it?
It's rubbish, isn't it?
How are you feeling about that, Ben?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling great. Yeah, it continues to be a wild ride, and we keep unlocking things, and we're plugging along. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, and congratulations. It's an unreal project, and obviously so happy that we could all be involved in this in some way, shape or form. So appreciate that as well. Now, before we get into the nitty and the gritty, Bob, for any of the listeners, viewers who don't know, which I don't know who that would be, but could you kind of give us a brief overview of how the original Robo Skull came about? Just the cliff notes, as they say.
Oh, crikey.
Can you condense like 20 years of information into like a minute? Go.
Do I go back to Action Man?
Yeah, go all the way back. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little lead in here. So Action Force has already happened. It's kicked off. They've done the kind of 12-inch
mini action.
Yeah. They've turned the big Action Man figures, like the 12 most popular ones into the Action Force kind of 3 3/4, 5-point of articulation size, and then you were tasked for the next kind of, was it the next year or like the next phase to do this?
Next year. Well, what happened was Bob Simpson, who was managing director of Palitoy, he left and took a load of guys with him, and they've got a new guy in called Peter Waterman as managing director. Of course, there was a completely new marketing team came in. It was, of course, Star Wars was big, wasn't it?
Yes.
And stories were big. Action Man didn't have a story, did it?
Yeah, it was just a random bunch of figures.
You made up your own stories for Action Man, but stories were around at the time, and they thought we need a story, So we sat together with marketing, and came up with Baron Ironblood and the Red Shadows and the 4 teams. Yeah, we didn't do her.
Yeah, no, that's Kate's own creation. Yeah,
we weren't allowed any tooling really.
Yeah.
So we had to make do with the tools we got. So all the figures, we had to take arms off of one and legs off another and put it onto another body and then recolor it and so on, And then the same with the vehicles, we had to take bits off, put bits on and recolor them. So we only had a very limited amount of tooling money. So that's how it started.
Frankenforce is what it should have been called.
Frankenforce, yes. So that was first year. And of course it took off, So
I remember.
They gave us some more money the second year.
They gave you £10 more, right, at that point?
Yeah. There's a couple more quid in it. So I was sitting down thinking, what can we do? And I was modelling things like the Kraken,
Oh.
And that was I was a bit of a science fiction freak, when I used to read science fiction books. And do you remember a book called The Kraken Wakes?
Yeah.
By John Wyndham.
I actually, there's a few people that have taken that moniker on.
I think they have.
Love that. Yeah.
So I thought Kraken, that would be a good character. So I sculpted up that. And then there was the Triad spaceship.
Another beauty.
So I thought, just, it'd be a good idea to have a spaceship where you can take little pods off. So you can have three figures in it and then go off, do your own thing with the little pods. So I sketched that up sort of roughly. And then, who was it? Kevin Heath was our model maker and he modelled it all up.
Wow.
And he put a few bits of his own sort of into it as well. And then, of course, Baron Ironblood, he had... and the Red Shadows, of course, they had this skull and crossbones symbol. Because when we originally did it, we thought they were sort of a band of misfits and mercenaries, that Baron Ironblood had got together. So they were like pirates. Because he had this skull as an emblem, that's when I started thinking, we need a vehicle that looks like a skull somehow.
Yeah.
So I was sketching all sorts of rubbish, like childlike sketches, on fag packets and things. Tracked vehicles and wheeled vehicles and eventually I got to this one, which it might have been subliminal from Star Wars, with the TIE Fighter, but I didn't actually, think of TIE Fighter. And I was sketching up things, flying things, and I ended up this one where it could take off vertically and then swing the wings around and then go into mode, I've got a picture for you.
Oh, look at that.
That's what I modelled up first.
There it is.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
Which I sculpted up. And, of course, that's the final one.
It looks amazing. I love.
And what I did, I thought it needs a pilot, so I did the skeleton pilot to go in it. So when I showed these two things at the new products meeting, and I said this is the Robo Skull, and they said no, that's the Robo Skull. that's the I call it Skull Attack or something.
The Skull Fighter or something. Yeah.
Skull Fighter or something like that. Yeah, I can't remember. I had a list of names, but so they said no, we want a new pilot to go in here. So that's when I started drawing up things for it. Oh, I've got a picture of him as well.
Amazing. I love this show and tell. This is great. There you go. Oh, look at that.
I started sketching up things for the new pilot. And of course, they put this in as a mail away, didn't they?
Yeah. Skeleton. Yeah, well, again, it was a cool figure still. So I'm glad it made it through, honestly.
And these are just different shots of the prototype. Oh, I've got the prototype here as well. I've got prepared to see.
Look at this. Look at this. That's the prototype. Oh my goodness me!
You see, I saved that from the skip after the toy fair.
Oh no way! Who threw that out?
And these two weapons got broken off.
Oh mate,
this one's broke. This one's broken. Well, that one's still there.
Well, it's I don't know, it gives it a bit of character, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gives it character. Sure enough. Oh, this is broken. No, that's a molded one. There it is.
Throw that away. We can't. I can't. We can't see. There you go. There you go. Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's the one that goes on the back.
The canopy.
And then this one's broken as well. Look.
Oh no. Well, it's amazing you've got that. Honestly.
That goes on there, of course.
Yeah.
But it's all made of resin. So when they saw the first one, they said, "Oh, we've got to have that. It's going to be called the Robo Skull." So I sent off then to make a prototype, and I used a company called Rayleigh Technical Design.
Yes, yeah.
because they had facilities for doing all the drawings for the components and also prototyping. So I was up and down to Essex every week, adding bits on, saying I want this here, and this there, and this there.
That's unbelievable.
So it was the only way to get it out,
Yeah,
for Toy Fair, to do it that way.
Time crunch, Ben. I'm sure you're feeling. I'm sure you're feeling that at the moment.
Not like Ben, who spent hours on a computer and.
Yeah, this is you drawing it and running down to Essex every 5 minutes. That's amazing.
Yeah, doing a little sketch of a feature, and running down there and saying, I want this on here. And
well, I mean, it's amazing that you created that thing. It is one of the most iconic vehicles, I think, not just in Action Force, but in general. I think in all of kind of like toy, action figure kind of creation. So, and like I say that, and sometimes you'd probably go, oh no, but as you can tell, the popularity for this particular kind of themed vehicle is quite big when you look at what is happening with the Roboskull Mark II right now. So,
well, it's absolutely amazing. I can't get over it, really.
And
it's great, Ben. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Bob. It's thanks for all of your insight and for getting involved with the project. I can't imagine.
But it was all these guys like Kate and you as well with that chrome one, and there was one guy did an AT-AT, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who did the AT-AT?
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
Yes.
Dark Horse. Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Corey Godfrey's done a really cool custom as well more recently. So shout out to Corey.
Yeah.
He's got the gold grill in his teeth too.
You're crazy like you are.
Hey, you're the one that started it. You started it, boss.
It was Larry Hama, wasn't it? He put it in the G.I. Joe comic.
Yeah, Larry's also included it, yeah.
Did that start it all off, really, do you think?
Well, I think Dave going over to one of the JoeCons, he was kind of pushing it in a panel. Then but Dave and I did a panel the following year at JoeCon and kind of pushed it again. And I think we started to move a little bit. And then with the podcast as well, like I think we've been slowly like seeping it into people's brains and minds. But like the US took to it really... Like I don't know, like very quickly. The popularity rose, didn't it?
I think it doesn't take much to take to it. The first time I saw it one time on the internet and went, what? And then I was hooked. So I went immediately from seeing it to going to JoeCon and saying I have to track one down and buy one. And that's what I did. And then I think that was the same show Chris was at and Dave and talking about Action Force. So it all, for me, that's when it really started ramping up was like 2014. It's about 7 years ago.
So tell me, Ben, how did you chrome it?
I took the Palitoy Robo Skull, and I found a location just in Wisconsin here, neighboring state that was doing back metal chrome small batch. So I was able to just ship it directly to them, and they chromed it up and they shipped it back, and it was really that easy. It wasn't inexpensive, but I was lucky to find a place that could do that, especially on a small scale. That company's unfortunately since closed its doors, but I do know there are still places that are doing it, at least a place that's doing it in the United States.
Did you have to strip it down and then rebuild it?
I just removed all the decals. That was the only thing I really had to do, was make sure I got it really clean, and then I shipped it. Yeah, and then I did strip it down. I I disassembled it so that when they did it, it was individual pieces, and they actually hang it on little wires.
That's
like
right.
A tree.
Yeah, excellent.
So cool. And that was, I've got to admit, that was really striking when I saw that the first time. I was
it blew my mind when I saw it.
Incredible. And yeah, I mean, again, it's you've basically created this ridiculously manic fandom around this one vehicle, Bob. So that must be like, it must be really surreal to have that, that you've created something that has taken off in such a big way.
Yeah. My wife's a bit skeptical about it all.
Hey, Bob, that I feel you, man. You know, it's our toys are never quite as cool to our wives as they are to us.
Well, actually, my wife,
Chris's wife might be the lone exception.
I'll show you this as well, Bob, that Kate made. I'm not sure if you've seen this yet at all. This is a little Halloween thing that Kate put together. Look at that. With bat wings.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Why don't we have a Kickstarter for that one?
Well, that'll be stretch goal number 13. That will be. I did jokingly say that would be the $7 billion stretch goal, and fingers crossed we reach that, because it's going rapidly enough, isn't it, to do so? Right, Ben, I just want to ask you quickly. How important was it to get Bob involved in this project? I mean, this was a conversation we had, wasn't it, like early on, and we were both a bit nervous about approaching Bob about this. But I mean, how important was it to get him involved?
It was crucial, right? It was absolutely crucial because, as you know, Chris, and I'll share with everyone watching, that it was one of the big three things that to me was a requirement for doing the project. So, you know, how crucial was it?
I was number one. I was number one. So that was where that was.
Of course.
Bob's maybe 2 or 3. No, I'm kidding. Carry on.
So yeah, I mean, when we want to do a love letter to the Palitoy in the 80s, you don't want to write a love letter and then have the person who's responsible for it all kind of return to sender when it's all done, right? So yeah, it was critical and crucial that Bob get involved and be to me, and I think to a lot of the fans too. I think it is a big deal that Bob, that you've weighed in on this and helped us develop it and contributed, and that you're supporting it. That carries a lot of weight because your work is really important to all of us big kids today.
I appreciate that.
Here. But still, I was number one. Bob was more like number 2 or 3.
You were number one.
Thank you, Bob.
You were number one, Chris.
Just wanted to make that clear. Well, I was actually
just to reinforce, the very first phone call I ever made
was to me.
After it was in my head, just make sure everybody understands this. I picked up the phone and I called Chris McLeod.
Thank you very much. I'm like the A-team.
I have an idea.
If you're in trouble and you need to call somebody, call the A-team first. I'll be second. Bob, I was actually tasked with making first contact with you after Ben and his team had created the concepts and the early designs for the Mark II. Now, honestly, how did you feel when you first saw what they had planned?
Oh, I was a bit worried. No, I thought...
What's this garbage? Did you say that when you...
Yes.
What's this rubbish?
No, I thought it was eye-opening, really. It made me feel quite pleased.
Well, that's good.
If I can use that word. Were
you impressed with the level of design that had gone into, creating something, like kind of updating what you'd already, what effectively was perfection for a lot of people?
Well, yeah, I mean, we used to design things in a completely different way than what was going on with the Mark II. I mean, I was quite impressed with some of the, computer drawings, because I've never seen anything like that before. Yeah. Only in bits and pieces, but I thought I was very impressed with what was going on, and some of the thinking that was going on as well, how to keep it, for 3 3/4, and then build it up so it could take a 6-inch figure and all that sort of, and how you did that inside the cockpit. And I thought it was good that you kept the basic concept of it, but made it look as though it was a Mark II. How many years is it now? 40 years?
Oh, don't tell me that.
Yeah, it's going on 40 years.
If you were going to redesign it, and bring it up to date, it looked the part. It was great.
Fantastic. I mean, were there any parts on the actual design that you were like particularly impressed with? Were there things that were done on this new Mark II version that you were kind of thinking, oh, I wish I'd been able to do that? Not necessarily like you hadn't thought of it, but wish you'd been able to physically from like a toy creation point of view. I like
the wings on the Mark I. They're rigid. I like the idea of having extra bits on the wings that you can move and change this sort of configuration. I thought that was terrific. Yeah, I like that.
It creates some really nice silhouettes, doesn't it? Kind of like,
I was a was a bit unsure about this thing that's coming out of his mouth.
Oh, well, Ben, what's that? The breath of death.
The breath of death.
Is it?
Yeah, that was an enhancement, of course, that we were able to add that additional articulation to get the jaw to open up. Which I think for a skull, that that's something that if we can do it, we had to have it. And yes, there was some trepidation about how that all came out, right, Bob? And
yeah, I like the way the mouth opens, and then it's a bit like the alien when its mouth opens.
Yeah.
And the other bit comes out.
Except this one has missiles inside it.
Yeah,
it's got we've got all kinds of things going on this.
I mean, there's a lot more firepower on Mark II, isn't there? Like me.
There's a couple of bits they've added. Ben, how nervous were you to get Bob's kind of reaction to it? I mean, were you excited or were you nervous? I mean, how were you feeling at the time?
I was very excited. And Bob, you might not know this, but I was like, Chris, reach out to Bob. And Chris was like, I think you should get a little bit further along before you show this to him. So I was the whole time, I'm like chomping at the bit. I'm like, let's get Bob. Call Bob. Let's get Bob. Let's get.
I think this was day 2, by the way. This was day 2, by the way. There were no images of anything at this point, I don't think. And I think the conversation happened before there were concepts. And I was like struggling I thought, well, if we had something visual, I'd rather give that to Bob rather than just be like, Bob, people are going to do a Mark II of your vehicle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather you got some visual. Plus, I was trying to be controlling, as I always am in these situations.
Well, I think Chris, you were smart too. You wanted to make sure that when we presented it to Bob, that it was clear to Bob that we were very serious about the endeavor. Yeah, it wasn't just a fan concept that maybe wouldn't go anywhere. And maybe I had to convince you, Chris, that was the case as well before we
first conversation we had. It was like the first hour of the conversation, there was a lot of pushback. In the last maybe 2 of the 7 or 8 hour call we had, I would say we were both throwing ideas at each other and going, how cool would it be to do this? I was completely into it by the end of the conversation. So yeah, it was a funny one, wasn't it? But there was, I think my trepidation came from, the Robo Skull is like this. It's almost like this religious thing for people. It's like this deity. You know what I mean? And I kind of, it's almost like, are we allowed to do this? Is this the thing that people will allow us to do? And turns out people are quite into this. So have you been surprised by the reaction by the Kickstarter, Bob?
Oh yeah, immensely. Yeah, couldn't believe it when what was it? 90 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half, and the initial funding goal was hit, and it's gone quite significantly further than that since, hasn't it? Yeah, what are we at today, Ben? What's the current standing?
I think we're at about 410,000 US today.
Blimey. Initial funding goal of 78, was it?
78 to get started, and then we had the 6 stretch goals that would get us all the way to basically 200,000. We had that campaign planned out to get to 196,000 for our final unlock. So we've
you did that in 21 hours. 21
we did that
hours.
In 21 hours, and now we've lapped it. So we're over 400,000, and just having a blast, adding extra items, extra stretch goals, doing additional development to keep the excitement going. And what an amazing opportunity to build up from what we've engineered for the Roboskull Mark II, and to add additional fun things that didn't quite make the cut in the first 6 stretch goals. So we've got 13 stretch goals right now, and once we unlock this beautiful, it's going to be gorgeous hardcover book from
14 stretch goals if you count the pumpkin
right, Chris, right. Well, we'll take a look at your proposal after the show, Chris, on number 14. But we've got that amazing book from Brian and Patty that's up next that we hope to unlock. And then from there, we're developing an all new Skeletron action figure that I'm really excited to unveil, and we're working away on it. So it's we actually had concepts early on, but it felt distant at the time of launch, and it certainly feels not so distant now, and a real possibility. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah, keep your eyes on the Full Force podcast for any interesting developments in that.
And speaking of Skeletron, I have to, Bob, if it's okay right now, there he is. I got something really amazing and really special. I just received in the mail, and emotional, really, to be quite honest. Bob sent me a special gift in the mail, and I opened it up, and
don't cry. Try not to cry.
I'll try not to cry. But right here is the original sculpt that Bob did for the Skeletron. And Bob, what an amazing gift! And thank you so much. It's in a poor state, so I thought I'd get rid of it.
It was in the skip out the back. He was just like, "Oh, do you know what? I'll just send that to Ben. He'll love it."
Thanks for snaking it.
Lost an arm and its foot's come off. And
yeah, I put his foot back on. But thanks for fishing him out of the bin for me, Bob, and sending him to me, because it really means a lot to me.
As I said to you, it's the right home. It's the right home.
Thank you.
And Chris and Kate's got one with the leg missing as well, haven't you? 2
seconds. It's only there.
So thank you again, Bob. It's really, I can't tell you how much this means to me. And I'm actually a prototype collector. And so the entire process in the pre-production and the modeling is something that it's really near and dear to my heart, and has been for years. So this is just sort of, I can't possibly think of a nicer gift that I could have than this. Thank you again.
This is what Bob gave Kate and I for our wedding present. Isn't this gorgeous? This is wow. You thought yours was damaged. And there's a certificate as well.
Ben's got the original, which is you got one that's made from the prototype molds.
Well, we really appreciate it. It's amazing.
Resin.
It's absolutely beautiful.
That one was the original one I sculpted up roughly, to go with. It's where is it?
Yeah, there it is.
This one here.
Amazing. How cool is it to have a piece of history there, Ben?
Oh, it's unbelievable. And I showed it to Mark O'Byrne, my Skeletron partner, and he was blown away. And he said that'll be the centerpiece of our new Skeletron offices someday of the future. So it's
well, just take care of him, will you?
I certainly will.
Take care of it like Bob did, because look at that. the other arm will be off. It'll be in a skip before you know it. Now, guys, actually, before we go, I've got a funny feeling you've got some pretty big news to reveal for a certain head sculpt scenario. So, do you want to go ahead and reveal that for us?
Yeah. So we recently showed off some of the the helmets and the helms for Blood Wolf and the Weasel Pilot. And then we actually revealed that there were heads underneath the helmets. That was something we didn't even reveal at the beginning of the campaign, although it was always planned to be the case. We've revealed the Weasel helmet, the Weasel head underneath the helmet, which keen-eyed fans might recognize a likeness there somewhere there. But we hadn't revealed yet what the head sculpt would look like for the Blood Wolf. And I'm really excited. It's a real honor for me to announce that Sir Bob Brechin has agreed to allow us to use his likeness to be the pilot of the Robo Skull Mark II, and he indeed is our Blood Wolf.
Amazing.
So there it is.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks for inviting me, Ben.
We don't have any images to show yet, but if you just look at Bob's face, that's what it'll look. There you go. Look, that's what it'll look like. Look at this.
There we go.
Lovely stuff.
On. There we go. Yeah, maybe we want a good snarl out of you, Bob, so that we can, I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that is
there
brilliant.
We go.
How excited, Bob, are you to have your head on a blood wolf?
Well, I'm quite excited. Yeah, I'm trying to play it down a bit.
Yeah, you're probably exploding like there's fireworks inside right now.
Yeah, I don't think Jennifer. I don't think she is very excited about it.
She wants to keep you all to herself, doesn't she, Bob?
Yeah.
She doesn't...
No, it should be quite good, I think. Thanks very much.
Cannot wait to see that. Cannot wait to see it. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you both on, especially you, Bob. Sorry, Ben, but that's like, the end of Wizard of Oz when they're like, and I'm going to miss you the most. And the other guys are like, what? That's a bit harsh. But no, seriously, Bob, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. Great to see you again. I'm so happy you could be involved in this project. I know it means loads to Ben, obviously. It means like so much to Kate and I as well, that to have you involved in it too. So like, we're just totally over the moon that you could be on here.
There's one last thing. I'm pleased you're still calling it the Robo Skull, because I think at the beginning you were thinking of other things, weren't you?
I think the naming it the Robo Skull was always that was one of my big requirements, was securing the trademark so we could use the name Robo Skull. Yeah, that was important. And
because I guess we'll mention it ought to be Roboskull Mark II.
There you go. And I was going to say that was Bob's touch, because we'd secured the name, the trademark for use of the name Roboskull, and Bob said this should be called the Roboskull Mark II. And then what do we say when Bob speaks? We say
yes,
done.
I don't like the fact you ignored my my option, which was Roboskull 2. Die Hard with a Vengeance. You weren't too happy with that one. Die Hard 2 Pig in the City was my option. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's been great to have you both on and talking about this and chatting about it, and great to speak to you again, Bob. After it's been ages, so it's nice to actually see you properly face to face in sort of.
Come over here soon and see your family.
Well, our family are coming to see us in December, so we've secured them to get out here first. I was about to. I'm not sure if you knew this, but I was going to be flying last month out to see everybody, and I got a hideous pain in the morning of the flight. Went to urgent care, and I had a kidney infection, and so I couldn't fly. So I had to cancel my flight, and I was going to be coming out for like a month. I was going to be coming out for. So so it's been a bit of a rough couple of months, but folks are coming out, so we'll see them, and then we're going to be going out in January, so we'll come and see you in January, Bob.
Yeah, okay. And maybe one day I might get over there.
Absolutely, come out here. We'll send a Robo Skull out there, because that'll be
Bob, if you're game, we'll get you a ticket right now. Come on, just jump on in and come on over.
No, we're not moving just yet.
All right. We've got a great show, Assembly Required, this weekend on Saturday.
Yeah, I watched that. I've been watching that on Facebook and everything. So I hope that goes well.
It's going to be great.
Absolute pleasure, lads. Thank you so much for jumping on. Ben, we'll be back again with another kind of update before the end of the campaign, I believe. Probably.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anytime, Chris.
But
anytime.
Bob, it's been a pleasure. Ben, it's been a pleasure. See you guys later. Now to bring it to a close, that brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you so much for coming on and talking everything Robo Skull with me. I truly appreciate it. Thanks for watching the Full Force Podcast presents Robo Skull Mark II, the Bob Brechin interview. Massive thank you to my awesome guests, Ben Skeletron Conway and Bob Palitoy Legend Brechin. We should call you Blood Wolf Portrait is what we should call you. Bob Blood Wolf Head Sculpt Brechin. See you next time, and as always, full force.
Full force.
Brilliant. The Robo Skull Mark II from Skeletron is here. Created by an international team of highly trained and talented specialists, this ultimate action figure vehicle will dominate your collectible displays and terrorize shelves around the globe. This exciting multi-purpose, multi-scale compatible death-dealing skull fighter is packed with awesome features and comes with an equally fierce Robo Skull Blood Wolf pilot. Get ready. In this Kickstarter campaign, you will see the incredible detail and care that has gone into the creation of this stunning vehicle. Catering to multiple scales, you will be able to utilise any 1/18, 1/12 and yes, even some 1/60th scale action figures with this outstanding machine. Speaking of action figures, we have joined forces with Marauder Inc. to bring you a fantastic 4-inch Robo Skull Bloodwolf pilot, and we are also excited to offer a special edition Robo Skull to our Kickstarter backers. The Robo Skull Mark II Special Edition will only be available via Kickstarter backer kit and will also come with a Kickstarter exclusive Marauder Robo Skull Weasel pilot. The Robo Skull Mark II comes fully loaded with awesome features including articulation, independent 360-degree VTOL wing rotation, 3 snap to position flight modes, X attack, standard and tight manoeuvring, articulated wingtips for flight mode and landing mode, hinged canopy for interior cockpit access, 2 ball-jointed pilot control handles integrated into each removable seat, articulated rear cannons, removable prison transport with hinged lid, articulated chin gun assembly, articulated jaw, and removable missiles. Compatibility: 2 removable 1/18 scale seats for a pilot and rear gunner for 3 3/4 and 4-inch figures. 1 removable 1/12 scale seat for a 6-inch figure. Removable eye cannons for use with 20mm system. Multiple additional peg hole contact points for crossplay compatibility with other toys and for future expansion. Robo Skull is designed and engineered for production. Now we need your help to make the beautiful, terrible Robo Skull Mark II a reality. By backing this project, you'll enable us to move forward with the production tooling required for this masterpiece of destruction. And if we're successful in funding, our diabolic designers have even more wicked weaponry to add to your Robo Skull with a number of impressive stretch goals. We are proud to offer international shipping. For details, check out the Kickstarter campaign. Thank you for checking out the Robo Skull Mark II. We feel we've created something very special. We hope you agree and help us to make this a reality. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter at The Full Force, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/The Full Force, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force!